Hey everyone, you know some of the world's most secretive facilities are hidden underground, built for war, survival, or secrecy? These complexes reveal how far nations have gone to protect their most critical operations. Today we're going to take a look at 15 hidden facilities that are built inside mountains and underground. Starting with number 15, the Redout Fuel Enrichment Plant. So, the Redout Fuel Enrichment Plant, it's an underground uranium enrichment facility operated by the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran. Dug into the side of a mountain to shield it from aerial attacks, well, the facility has been central to their international nuclear negotiations and non-proliferation monitoring efforts for more than a decade. When the United States, the United Kingdom, and France revealed its location and purpose at a G20 summit, Iran confirmed the plant's existence shortly afterwards, stating that it was built in accordance with international atomic energy safeguards and it was designed for peaceful nuclear energy research. However, the late disclosure raised concerns, particularly because Iran is required under rules to declare new nuclear facilities as soon as construction begins. The site had reportedly been under construction since at least 2006. Now, it's built deep into the side of a mountain near the military base of Redout, making it one of the most heavily protected facilities in their infrastructure. Satellite imagery and inspections have revealed that the site includes multiple underground halls, ventilation shafts, surface buildings, and access tunnels, all designed to withstand conventional nuclear strikes. According to reports, Redout was originally designed to house nearly 3,000 gas centrifuges used for enriching uranium hexafluoride. That's the process where it increases the proportion of the fissile isotope uranium-235, which can be used for either civilian nuclear power, if enriched to around 3 to 5%, or at much higher levels 90% for nuclear weapons. Under the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly referred to as the Iran nuclear deal, Iran agreed to limit uranium enrichment at Redout and convert it into a research facility. Only a small number of centrifuges were even allowed to remain under monitoring. However, after the United States withdrew from the Joint Action Plan in 2018, Iran began gradually scaling back its compliance. By 2019, Iran resumed enrichment at Redout using IR-1 centrifuges to enrich uranium above the limits. While enrichment levels have reached up to 60% purity at this site, was way beyond the deal's cap and alarmingly close to weapons grade. While Iran insisted that the higher enrichment is for civilian fuel and medical isotopes, international concerns over the plant's true intent still remain, even given what just happened. Number 14, the Raven Rock Mountain Complex. The Raven Rock Mountain Complex, more commonly referred to as Site R, is a secure military installation located inside Raven Rock Mountain. It was constructed during the early Cold War and designed to serve as a continuity of government and military command center in the event of a nuclear attack on Washington. The facility was authorized for construction in 1950 in response to the growing threat of Soviet nuclear weapons. It became fully operational by 1953 and was intended to be the alternate Pentagon, which was capable of housing military leadership. It's built approximately 650 feet underground, and it includes over 100,000 square feet of office space, spread across multiple interconnected tunnels and blast-hardened chambers. It contains its own water supply, power gen systems, air filtration units, communication infrastructure, dining facilities, dormitories, and even a chapel. The tunnels down there are large enough to accommodate trucks and heavy equipment, with blast doors sealing off critical sections. And the US DoD has acknowledged the existence of it, but has disclosed few details about the layout or capabilities. Much of what's publicly known comes from declassified documents and open-sourced imagery, and the Freedom of Information Act requests, while the location is heavily secured, access gated, and patrolled by military police. The site is believed to be connected to other critical installations through fiber optic communication lines and possibly underground tunnels. According to reports, it was activated on September 11, 2001 as part of a standard emergency protocol. Personnel from various branches of the military and Department of Defense are believed to have been deployed to the site during the crisis. In more recent years, though, it's appeared in government budgets under euphemistic names like Continuity Communications Architecture and Alternate National Military Command Center. Well, it's kind of obvious. Well, despite its crucial role in national defense, the facility is not open to the public and photography is prohibited. A 2004 article in the Washington Post dubbed it the Underground Pentagon, and author Garrett Graff included it in his detailed investigation of U.S. continuity planning in the book Raven Rock of 2017, which remains one of the most comprehensive public sources on the site. Number 13. Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center. The Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center. It's a secure facility located in the Blue Ridge Mountains of West Virginia, approximately 48 miles west of Washington, D.C. It's officially operated by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. It serves as a key continuity of government site for the U.S. The facility was constructed in the 1950s as part of a broader Cold War effort to develop hardened infrastructure. The exact date of completion remains classified, but documents confirm that the site was active and operational by the early 1960s. It was developed under the auspices of the Federal Civil Defense Administration and later transferred to FEMA following its establishment in 1979. This subterranean complex is carved into the mountain and believed to include a network of tunnels and chambers capable of housing hundreds of people for extended periods. It is designed to be self-sufficient down there in the event of a national crisis or wartime attack. Now, the primary function of it is to serve as a relocation site for key civilian government officials. During the Cold War, detailed contingency plans existed for the evacuation of high-ranking officials from Washington, D.C. to Mount Weather, where they could continue to manage essential government functions. The facility gained widespread public attention in the aftermath of September 11th. It was reported that senior members of the U.S. government were transported to secure facilities including Mount Weather as a precautionary measure in the event of a second wave of attacks. The facility is equipped with advanced communications infrastructure designed to maintain its connectivity, and state governments and other federal agencies. During the Cold War, it did host the National Emergency Warning System, which could be used to issue alerts and instructions to the American public. But access is strictly limited, of course, and its exact specs remain classified. The site is secured by fences, guard stations, and constant surveillance. It's not marked on most public maps, and photography, of course, is prohibited. Mount Weather's also been referenced in various government reports and historical studies of civil defense. In more recent years, though, it's been used as a coordination hub for disaster response, particularly for large-scale incidents like hurricanes and other natural disasters. Number 12. The Norwegian Joint Headquarters. Hidden in the mountains outside the town of Bodø in northern Norway lies the Norwegian Joint Headquarters, one of the most secure military facilities in Scandinavia. It's built in the side of a mountain at Reitan. Its complex serves as the operational HQ for Norway's armed forces. It was originally developed during the Cold War when Norway, a founding member of NATO, faced the strategic challenge of defending its long Arctic border with the Soviet Union. Construction began in the late 1950s and was completed in the 1960s, and it was designed to survive conventional and nuclear attacks. The facility was excavated deep into granite mountains and fitted with reinforced blast doors and secure power and ventilation infrastructure. The HQ houses a network of hardened command centers, intelligence units, situation rooms, and communications, and it can function autonomously for extended periods. It's staffed by military and civilian personnel, and it coordinates activities across the Norwegian Army, Navy, and Air Force, as well as joint operations with NATO allies. The complex does continue to play a central role in modern Norwegian and NATO defense. It houses personnel from multiple branches of the armed forces, including the Norwegian Cyber Defense Force and intelligence elements. The HQ is used to manage national defense exercises, basically. The facility is also designed for interoperability with NATO command structures, and it regularly participates in multinational military exercises like Cold Response and Trident Juncture, which simulate large-scale defense scenarios. Those exercises often involve troops from the US, UK, Germany, and other NATO members, with Reitan serving as the command and coordination center. The site, of course, is not open to the public and access is tightly restricted, but satellite images show the above-ground entrance and support buildings. The interior of the underground complex hasn't been publicly revealed, though. In recent years, the increasing militarization of the Arctic and Russia's growing presence in the region have renewed attention to Norway's northern defenses. Reitan remains a key asset in Norway's strategy of forward defense, deterrence, and rapid response. Number 11. The Swiss National Redoubt. The Swiss National Redoubt is not a single facility, but it's a network of military fortresses, tunnels, bunkers, and infrastructure built deep within the Swiss Alps. This highly fortified defense system was constructed during the 19th and 20th centuries and then greatly expanded during World War II and the Cold War to serve as a last line of defense for Switzerland in the event of an invasion. The concept of a national redoubt was formally developed in the late 19th century, but it gained strategic importance in the early 20th when military leaders realized that Switzerland's mountainous interior offered natural defensive advantages. During World War II, General Henri Guisan ordered the expansion of the redoubt, intending to move Swiss political leadership and the core of the military into these fortifications if the country was attacked. This plan called for abandoning the lowlands and defending only the alpine heartland. These bunkers were carved directly into the mountains and were designed to be self-sustaining for weeks or months. They had sleeping quarters, command centers, artillery positions, hospital, food and fuel storage, and communication systems. Some of them were equipped with retractable gun turrets that were camouflaged to match the surrounding rock, making them almost invisible until activated. Now, the redoubt included defensive points along strategic routes, particularly the Gotthard Pass, Simplon Pass, and other critical tunnels and railways. These passes were heavily mined and could be quickly destroyed to hinder an enemy advance. Bridges and roads throughout the region were also pre-rigged with explosives, and in some areas entire valleys could be sealed off with artillery and rockslide triggers. Now, the whole national redoubt was largely kept secret during much of its life. Many of its most significant sites weren't even publicly acknowledged until after the end of the Cold War, and since then some of the fortifications have been decommissioned, declassified, and repurposed. A few fortresses have been converted into museums that were open to the public, providing some rare insights into the scale and complexity of this hidden infrastructure. However, many of the facilities remain classified or sealed. A 2010 report by the Swiss government confirmed that dozens of mountain bunkers and tunnels are still maintained for national defense. The concept of a distributed protected infrastructure does remain part of Switzerland's defense doctrine, and some hardened mountain facilities like this one continue to serve military or government functions. Number 10. The Pia Salmi Mine underground facility. Pia Salmi Mine in Finland is one of the deepest and most versatile facilities in Europe. It's originally developed as a copper and zinc mine, and it reaches a depth of about 1,500 meters or 4,700 feet. It was operational from 1962 until the mining operations stopped in 2022. In recent years, the site has been repurposed for scientific research and high-security data services, which makes it one of the most unique hidden facilities inside a mountain in the modern world. It became a major site for mineral extraction and economic development in the region. A vertical shaft and a 12-kilometer spiral access tunnel connect the surface to the deepest levels. Heavy machinery, ventilation, water pumping, and elevator systems were all installed to manage the extreme depth and pressure. As the mineral deposits began to run out in the 2010s, the Finnish government and private industry began exploring new ways to use it. Its depth and controlled environment made it attractive for scientific research, and the site now hosts the KarHoh Lab Initiative, a collaborative project that offers underground spaces for international scientific and industrial research. The mine has been proposed as a potential host site for neutrino experiments, given its shielding from any cosmic radiation and depth. It's also supported studies in geology and seismology and underground agriculture. The controlled environment down there is ideal for testing novel crop systems and material endurance under the subterranean condition. Beyond the science, it's attracted interest as a secure data storage site. Deep underground, server facilities offer natural protection against electromagnetic interference and temperature fluctuations, and the site's being marketed for data center development by KarHoh and other commercial partners. In addition, the mine has explored the use of its tunnels and shafts for energy storage. One of the more advanced proposals involves converting parts of the mine into a pumped hydro energy storage system, where water is cycled between upper and lower levels to store and release electricity. This could help support the grid stability and renewable energy integration in this region. But despite the closure of active mining, the facility is still maintained and regularly accessed. It's got a flexible infrastructure, and it allows new ventures to move in without the need for extensive additional excavations. Number 9. The Kola Super Deep Borehole Auxiliary Complex. The Kola Super Deep Borehole, it's located in Russia's Murmansk Oblast, and it's widely known for being the deepest man-made hole on Earth. It reaches a depth of 12,262 meters, that's 40,230 feet. Less well-known, however, is the network of underground and mountain-adjacent facilities built to support the project. While not a military facility in the traditional sense, the complex is an example of a scientific site embedded into a remote, stable rock formation, partially within low mountains and deep permafrost. The drilling of the borehole began in 1970 by the Soviet Union as part of a scientific project to explore the crust of the Earth. The site was chosen due to its location on the peninsula, which provided stable geology and minimal seismic activity. The whole project was overseen by the USSR's Ministry of Geology and supported by a network of scientists, engineers, and technicians. Now, the borehole itself required specialized support infrastructure. Facilities were dug into nearby granite outcrops and permafrost-covered hills to shelter sensitive equipment. These included underground laboratories, reinforced concrete bunkers for seismic monitoring, core sample archives, and a power substation, all embedded either partially into the hillsides or beneath heavy layers of concrete. Much of the equipment used in this project had to be developed from scratch, including custom drill bits and heat-resistant sensors. The deeper the borehole went, the more technical challenges arose. Temperatures at the bottom reached over 180 degrees Celsius or 356 degrees Fahrenheit, higher than expected, and rock behaved plastically under this intense pressure. One of the major scientific discoveries made here was the presence of water at depths previously thought to be completely dry. The borehole provided valuable data on seismic discontinuities and mineral structures and the behavior of rocks under this extreme stress. It also recorded some fossilized plankton at depths exceeding 6 kilometers, which sparked further study into biological activity in ancient rocks. The project was officially halted in 1992 following the collapse of the Soviet Union and lacked continued funding. Since then, though, the surface buildings have largely fallen into disrepair and many of the underground support facilities are sealed. The borehole itself, though, is welded shut with a metal cap. However, core samples and data from the project remain archived by Russian geological institutions, and they've been used in international research. Number 8. The Alfred Railway Bridge Tunnel Access Bunkers. The Alfred Railway Bridge, which spans the Suez Canal in Egypt, is a unique swing bridge originally constructed in the 20th century and then later rebuilt. While the bridge itself is above ground, the area surrounding it, including portions of the railway network and associated infrastructure, includes mountains and hills-embedded facilities for logistic and strategic purposes, are all underground. The region surrounding the bridge is geologically flat, but small hills and constructed mounds near the western approaches have been engineered to contain reinforced tunnels and shelters. These structures were developed as part of the broader effort to protect critical infrastructure during periods of conflict, particularly during the wars between Egypt and Israel in the mid to late 20th century. The original Alfred Bridge was completed in 1918 and has been rebuilt multiple times due to wartime damage and changing canal width. The current version was finished in 2001 and is one of the longest swing bridges in the world. Beneath the rail approach on the western side of the canal is a series of support bunkers and tunnel access points built into these raised embankments. The bunkers aren't accessible to the public, but satellite imagery and military reports confirm their presence. Similar installations exist on the eastern bank, where infrastructure must remain secure amid the regional security there. During the 1973 Yom Kippur War, the region around Alfred became a focal point of operations. The Egyptian military utilized tunnel routes and underground storage to move troops and equipment. Though modernized, some of those protective features remain in place and are regularly maintained. More recently, Egypt has invested in large-scale infrastructure upgrades along the Suez Canal route, including the construction of a new Alfred Bridge project. These developments have required the creation of temporary and permanent subterranean facilities to house the tunnel boring machines, rail control systems, and military installations. The Suez Canal and its adjoining facilities do remain some of the most protected zones in the Middle East. The tunnels and bunkers around Alfred are not widely publicized, but they serve essential roles in securing Egypt's critical trade corridor, bridging both continents and strategic imperatives through hidden systems beneath man-made hills and reinforced embankments. Moving on to number 7, Bulshaya Ielka Underground Facility. On the remote Kamchatka Peninsula, in Russia's far east, lies an obscure yet strategically significant facility near the extinct Bolshaya Ielka volcano. While not officially named in Russian military registries, the site has been referenced in multiple open-source intelligence reports, and it's commonly linked with the Russian Navy's Pacific Fleet operations. Satellite imagery has confirmed the presence of hardened tunnels and camouflaged infrastructure. Now, this region is of major strategic importance to Russia, providing Pacific Ocean access and hosting several naval and air force bases. Analysts from defense and satellite monitoring organizations have documented multiple tunnel entrances, roadways leading directly into the mountain, and above-ground support structures. Construction likely began during the Soviet period, the 1960s or 70s, as part of the USSR's broader initiative to fortify its eastern perimeter. Much like Cheyenne Mountain in the US, these facilities were intended to ensure continuity of operations during a nuclear conflict. While the Russian government has never officially disclosed the full purpose of the site, defector accounts and NATO intelligence assessments do indicate that it's likely integrated with the Pacific Fleet's command and control systems. It's also speculated to contain hardened storage for nuclear warheads or submarine-launched ballistic missiles, though no conclusive evidence has been publicly confirmed. While many Cold War-era Soviet facilities have fallen into disrepair, the infrastructure near this one appears to have been maintained and possibly upgraded. Analysts have observed fiber optic lines and radar installations in proximity to the site, suggesting that it plays a role in communications and surveillance. The facility's proximity to a nuclear submarine base that's home to Russia's Delta III and Borehole-class submarines further supports the theory that it is a key part of Russia's nuclear triad. Its location within a mountain, far from any major cities or NATO bases, allows for sustained command ops in high-threat scenarios. Though little is known about the interior, it likely mirrors the design of other Soviet-era underground complexes. The self-sustaining features would enable personnel to survive and operate in total isolation. The Bulshaya Ielka facility remains a little-known but crucial component of Russia's military infrastructure. The concealment within a volcanic mountain, operational secrecy, and continued relevance in strategy underscore the enduring value of hidden facilities inside mountains, especially in remote strategic theaters like the Pacific. Number 6. The Shieldtorn Air Defense Bunkers. Beneath the snow-covered peaks of the Bernese Alps in Switzerland is an extensive network of bunkers and observation posts, some of which were used as high-altitude air defense and surveillance positions during the Cold War. Built during the 1950s and 60s, the Shieldtorn Bunkers were part of the broader Swiss national Redout strategy. Although smaller in scale, these bunkers were critical because of their elevation and their visibility. At over 2,900 meters or 9,700 feet in elevation, it offers views of key valleys and transportation corridors. The geography here made it ideal for line-of-sight communications, radar installations, and passive surveillance. Most of the military structures are embedded directly into the rock faces and are almost invisible from a distance. Access was, and in some areas remains, limited to narrow paths and concealed entrances. Their role was to monitor airspace for unauthorized incursions and, if necessary, activate nearby anti-aircraft artillery or alert the broader Swiss air defense network. While Switzerland has not been involved in any major conflicts since the 19th century, its military planning during the 20th assumed the possibility of an invasion or nuclear war. Facilities like this one were designed to function independently for weeks with generators, fuel storage, and food supplies. Their locations in the solid mountain made them resistant to bombing or shelling, and their secrecy made them difficult to locate or target. After the end of the Cold War, many of the bunkers were decommissioned, though some were retained for training and emergency use. In the early 2000s, as part of a demilitarization initiative, a number of them were turned over to civilian authorities or sold off. Some of the old observation bunkers have since been preserved as historic relics. The region is also known for its revolving restaurant at the summit, featured in the James Bond film On Her Majesty's Secret Service. However, most visitors are unaware that just beneath the surface, and along the surrounding ridges, is a grid of bunkers and tunnels that once formed part of Switzerland's layered air defense system. Number 5. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex. So, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, it is one of the most famous underground military installations. It's located near Colorado Springs, Colorado, and it was constructed during the Cold War. Built inside Cheyenne Mountain, it's carved into 600 meters of granite and was originally designed to house North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD. Construction began in 1961, it was completed in '66, but at a cost of over $140 million, which doesn't sound like much today, while the complex was developed in response to the growing threat of intercontinental ballistic missiles and the need for a survivable military operations center. It was designed to ensure that NORAD, U.S. Northern Command or U.S. NORTHCOM, and other critical defense components could continue to operate. The facility consists of a network of 15 buildings, mounted on steel springs inside 5 acres of tunnels. Each building is independent in there, and with walls that don't touch the granite, they're mounted on these shock absorbers to withstand any shock waves from a nearby explosion. They've got command centers, data processing rooms, dormitories, medical facilities, and power generation systems, and 3 independent water reservoirs. The entire complex is protected by 2 huge blast doors, weighing 25 tons each. Cheyenne Mountain's role was to serve as the heart of NORAD's aerospace warning and control operations. In addition to that, the complex housed elements of the U.S. Strategic Command and provided communication links to the other military branches and government agencies. Throughout the Cold War, it remained on high alert in there, continuously staffed with military personnel and civilians. It operated around the clock to maintain command readiness. The facility did play a key role during critical moments like the Cuban Missile Crisis and post-9/11 operations, when it served as a backup center for the U.S. military leadership. In 2006, many of the daily NORAD operations were then moved to Peterson Space Force Base nearby, but Cheyenne Mountain Complex wasn't decommissioned. The DoD has invested in ongoing upgrades to ensure the complex can support full operational capability if needed. In 2015, it was publicly confirmed that the U.S. military was investing in additional funds to harden its systems. Besides all the history, though, it's permeated pop culture, appearing in films like War Games and television shows like Stargate SG-1. Now, while these portrayals are fictionalized, they have helped popularize the idea of deep hidden command centers. Its deep placement within the solid rock and its decades-long role in defending North American airspace make it one of the most iconic hidden facilities ever built into a mountain. Number 4. The Mount Yamantau Facility. Mount Yamantau. It's located in the southern Ural Mountains of Russia. It's the site of one of the most secretive underground facilities in the world. Now, while Russia has never officially acknowledged the full extent or purpose of the installation, satellite imagery and years of intelligence by the US and other NATO countries indicate the presence of a massive complex buried within the mountain. Standing at over 5,300 feet, Mount Yamantau is one of the tallest peaks in the southern Urals. And beginning in the late 1970s and accelerating in the 90s, US intelligence agencies detected extensive excavation work. Observers noted multiple tunnel entrances, spoil piles, and high-security perimeters. The scale of the operation suggested a facility of national-level importance. Now, U.S. officials publicly questioned Russian activities here in the 1990s, especially given the size of the excavation. Russian response were vague and contradictory. Various officials claimed at different times that the complex was intended for food storage, mining, or archive preservation. However, none of those explanations matched the scope of the facility. The site's also associated with the closed city of Mezgorai, which is located at the base of the mountain. Now, this city is strictly off-limits to outsiders, and it's under military jurisdiction. The very existence of Mezgorai, combined with observed road and rail connections leading directly into the mountain, supports the conclusion that significant infrastructure lies beneath. Reports from the late 2010s indicated ongoing development at the site, with renewed activity visible in satellite imagery and military movements, suggesting the continued relevance of the facility. Some experts have hypothesized that Yamantau may be part of the Dead Hand or Perimeter System. That's an automated nuclear retaliatory system developed by the Soviet Union to ensure a second strike capability in the event of national command structures being destroyed. However, there's no direct evidence tying Yamantau to that system. Despite decades of speculation and analysis, the true nature of what lies beneath Mount Yamantau remains unknown to the public. It continues to be closely monitored by foreign intelligence services, and it serves as an example of how mountains are still used today to conceal and protect the most sensitive national assets. Number 3. The Rameni Bunker System. Beneath the western outskirts of Moscow is one of the most extensive bunker systems in the world, the Rameni Bunker System. Now, while the Russian government has never publicly confirmed the facility's full extent or purpose, credible open-source intelligence reports suggest that the network of underground chambers, tunnels, and command centers was designed to provide shelter for senior Russian officials. The site first came to the public attention during the Cold War. In the 1960s and 70s, Western analysts noted unusual construction activity in the district near Moscow State University. Huge amounts of earth were being excavated and removed under conditions of strict military scrutiny. Over time, reports began to emerge of large underground facilities being constructed beneath the area, including reinforced tunnels extending towards central Moscow. Though the exact specs were classified, Western intelligence estimates that the Rameni system includes up to 300,000 square meters of underground space, capable of accommodating as many as 15 to 30,000 people. The facility is believed to be connected by a deep-level metro line, commonly referred to as Metro 2 or D6, a rumored secret subway system running parallel to Moscow's public metro. Metro 2 reportedly links key facilities including the Kremlin, the Federal Security Service, that's the FSB headquarters, and the Vnukovo 2 airport and the Rameni complex. Experts believe the bunkers are designed for full autonomy. Their primary purpose is likely to support the continuity of government and military command during and after a nuclear strike. But in recent years, imagery and construction permits have indicated possible modernization. Large ventilation shafts, new surface structures, and active security checkpoints suggest ongoing maintenance and upgrades. And while the Russian government rarely comments on these activities, the civil defense officials have stated in recent years that Moscow has sufficient bunker capacity to shelter the city's entire population in case of war. While the strategic significance of this facility has only grown in the context of deteriorating relations between Russia and NATO. For Russia, a country that has long prioritized strategic resilience, this bunker system represents an essential layer of protection for its leadership and command structure. Its scale and presumed mission show the enduring relevance of underground infrastructure in geopolitical defense planning. Number 2. KarHoh Military Bunker Network. In the Austrian state of Carinthia, hidden beneath a mountain ridge, lies a Cold War-era military bunker constructed by Austria as part of its neutral defense strategy. The bunkers, carved into the mountains near the KarHoh radar station, were designed to serve as observation posts and command centers in the event of a Warsaw Pact invasion or regional conflict. Austria, though neutral during the Cold War, maintained a robust defense posture. The bunkers were part of this strategy built into the mountain during the 60s and 70s and intended to provide shelter for military units and monitor airspace. Inside the facility, it included living quarters for a small garrison, command rooms equipped with radios and encrypted communication devices. Munition storage, fuel reserves, and water purification systems were in there too. This design allowed soldiers to remain operational even if the surrounding area was under attack. The radar station on top of the ridge, still operational today, was originally integrated with the bunker network below and provided an early warning capability. During the Cold War, that station helped monitor aircraft movements and maintain their air sovereignty. Although Austria was not part of NATO or the Warsaw Pact, the country maintained a dense network of fortifications. KarHoh was one such node in this larger defense web, and its bunker system was linked by secure communication lines to the other command sites. After the Cold War ended, many of Austria's mountain bunkers, including KarHoh, were decommissioned or downgraded to reserve status. However, the facilities have not been demolished. Some remain under the control of Austrian armed forces and are used periodically for training exercises or response planning. Public documentation about it is limited, but Austrian defense researchers and urban explorers have published photographs and technical descriptions of parts of the interior, and the accounts confirm the presence of generator rooms and blast doors. The area does remain active in their national defense strategy, particularly through the radar station, which is now part of European civil and military aviation networks. The bunkers do show how smaller neutral nations approached mountain-based defense infrastructure. Though less massive than other major powers, they were no less serious in their intent to survive, observe, and coordinate military defense in some of Europe's most rugged terrain. Number 1. Yava Air Base. Yava Air Base, also known by its military codename Object 505, is one of the largest and sophisticated underground military air bases ever constructed in Europe. Located beneath a mountain on the border between Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina, this Cold War facility was built by the former Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia and operated primarily by the Yugoslav Air Force. Construction began in 1948 and it continued through to the early 1960s. By that time it became operational in 1968. It had a cost of over $6 billion in today's money, making it one of the most expensive military projects in Yugoslav history. The purpose of the base was to provide a hardened command and control center, and it also served as the headquarters for the 117th Fighter Aviation Regiment, equipped with MiG-21 interceptors. The base was built into the limestone of the mountain, and it utilized over 3.5 kilometers of tunnels that housed multiple aircraft bays, fuel storage, workshops, and sleeping quarters. The complex had 4 runways, each more than 2,500 meters long, located just outside the mountain on a flat plain. The aircraft could take off from these runways, retreat into the tunnels for maintenance, and emerge again through hidden blast doors. These tunnels were large enough to accommodate over 80 aircraft, and they were fitted with advanced life support systems. The facility was designed to be self-sufficient for up to 30 days in a fully sealed state. The interior was lined with metal and concrete to shield against nuclear, biological, and chemical threats, and the mountain itself provided enormous natural protection. Yava was not only a fighter base, it hosted surveillance and air traffic monitoring operations. One of the key components was the radar facility known as Selopek, situated above the ground but connected to the base. This system played a role in monitoring airspace over Yugoslavia and neighboring countries. The base did remain operational until the breakup of Yugoslavia in the early 90s. As tensions escalated and war broke out, Yava's strategic importance became a liability. In '92, during the withdrawal of the Yugoslav People's Army, the base was deliberately destroyed to prevent its capture by Croatian or Bosnian forces. Today, the surface runways and some exterior structures are still visible and accessible. The tunnels remain partially intact but are unstable. Entries forbidden and signs warning of landmines are posted throughout the area. The site straddles an international border and it lies within a military-sensitive zone, so access is monitored both by Croatian and Bosnian authorities. The scale of this facility, combined with the location and catastrophic self-demolition, make it one of the most compelling hidden mountain bases in the world. The base stands as a relic of Cold War paranoia, Yugoslav military ambition, and the lengths to which governments have gone to conceal critical defense. Deep within mountains, even in ruin, its legacy shows the power and vulnerability of hidden fortifications in modern warfare.